I was going to talk about the changes in restaurants, and I think just like they're ordering merchandise online without going into the stores, Amazon, people like that, same things happen in the restaurants. People are at home, I'm at home, you're at home, and they don't want to get in their car, go downtown, pay for parking, and go into a restaurant, a nice restaurant, to get a good steak. Because also when they go in, the maitre d' wants a tip. Generally you'll have two waiters, they want tips, which is alright. And then the liquor at restaurants now is fairly expensive. Wine, champagne, whiskey, whatever you want to drink. But the things are changing so fast. And another thing, I'm not crazy about going out at night, because every night in most towns now somebody's getting shot and killed. So I'm going to go out to a restaurant. In most restaurants, even if you have an apartment in New York City like I had, and you want to go to a restaurant, you're going on a pretty good walk at night to get there on the streets. And when you're walking on the streets at night, I just think somebody can come up and rob you, shoot you, kill you, whatever. And that's true all over the United States. There's not one place that that's not happening. So what's the next situation? Well, people are calling the restaurants and they're ordering takeouts. They always did that with the fast foods, like corn fritters, chicken wings, place called Magig in New York, and then they have barbecue. It's a restaurant chain, but so many diners now want their food delivered to their front door. They don't want to leave their house at night. And frankly, I don't blame them. So they call and they get what they like, their order, and then all of a sudden this type of business is increasing a lot. Like the restaurants are having 2 or 3 people just doing deliveries, and they're also hiring these delivery companies that do that, to come pick up and then take it. But I think it's changing. I know it's changing in the United States. I don't know worldwide, because the articles I read mainly talk about Los Angeles, New York, places like that, where it's changing. But the other way it's changing is you have to build the restaurants different. If you're going to send half of your food out, then you don't want to build a real big restaurant with chairs and seats and counter, and then you have your takeout in a little corner. No, you're going to have different types of construction, and the restaurants have to be redesigned to take delivery into account. And also, some of the menus are going to have to be changed, because some items now, if a guy's picking it up and taking it to your house 20 miles away, I mean, we know it'll be cold or whatever. But some items, though, you can't do that with, you know. And I'm not an expert on cooking, so I could tell you that. But in the last 5 years, revenue from deliveries jumped 20%. And the overall number of deliveries increased 10%. And your fast food restaurants that had this before anyway, it's not that much of a change. But tell me this, if we're sitting at home and there are a couple of people with us at our house, there's a steak place. Well, there are steak places all over, but a couple in New York City. And if I could get that steak, I don't care about the rest of it. The side orders, I think we can make those: mashed potatoes, baked potato, whatever, and then they'll give you a few little greens. But if I could get that steak, and it's not cheap, it's probably $50. But that steak is something worth eating, and then all you pay is for the steak. I assume you got to give the guy who delivers a tip, but you save money in gas, walking, you save money in worrying about people robbing you, shooting you, killing you, and the people you got to pay, then parking, and then you're going to tip way less people because you're not in the restaurant. The maitre d', generally in big time restaurants, he's looking for something to give you a good table, and then the two waiters you have on your table, they're looking for something. So, and that, we know that, you know, we're not trying to eat at home to get out of tips, but there's just a lot of things that can happen in a lot of places. It's dangerous, and I know a lot of older people now do not go out after 8 o'clock at night. I don't care what happens, they're not going out. And the other thing is the restaurants are changing depending on what they make. Like I said before, the fast foods, I'm not worried about them. They've been delivering since the day they opened. But some of these other ones are getting pushed into it, where they're in the middle of the line restaurant, not the fast food, where you would go sit down, maybe not real expensive, and they're getting pushed into this. Now this BJ Restaurants, which operates 198 casual dining restaurants in 28 states, says the percentage of its business comprised of takeout orders and deliveries has almost doubled in the last year. So that's telling you what's happening. Just like they're buying merchandise in the stores, on the telephone, Amazon, delivered to the house, the same thing is happening. Like this Mighty Quinn's Barbecue has 10 restaurants in New York City in the suburbs, and the chain sometimes has 3 or 4 drivers during a given shift at its New Jersey restaurants, while it uses third-party carriers services at his other locations. So the calls are coming in, and they got to get it out, and they got to get it to you quick. They have 3 guys on cars driving, and then they're also using courier services. So this whole thing is changing. If you're thinking of getting into the restaurant business, you better do some studying, you better think about it, and you better work on this delivery. And I don't care if it's hot dogs or the middle of the line, you know, restaurants that have spaghetti and things like that, chains, or I think if you're going to go to the big time, if I want to get that $50 steak, I want it. I want to bring it to my house. If I have a couple guests with me, 3 or 4 of us will sit there, and everybody will be happy. And as far as I'm concerned, some of those steak restaurants, there's no place in the world you can get something.
They could even make it where the people that deliver could serve you while they're there.
Where you can get something
that would be neat.
That has the taste of that steak.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?